Hello, and welcome to the Transmission X Midnight News. I'm your host, Nate Allen, and the propaganda I'll be covering is from October 12th, 2024. First, I'll be reading you the propaganda headlines, and then I'll share with you the real story. So stay tuned, but most importantly, be ready. Let's start with Newsmax. Let's see what they had to share with us today. First headline: New York Times admits Harris losing black support. Then we have Israeli strikes kill 19 in Gaza. Tanks push deeper in the north. Okay, how about CBS News? So they went to race and they went to war. Okay, what's CBS say? First headline reads, Harris releases medical records. Physician says she is in excellent health. So they're going to go with the young versus old attack. Smells like desperation to me. With her ratings going down like a whore in church, who could have seen that one coming? Okay, let's see what else they have to say here. CBS says, Floridians continue to clean up from Milton. More than 1 million without power. Okay, so they peddle you the fear. All right, let's continue. World's largest man-made lake is being parched by drought. Another crisis, another environmental crisis. You think they blame that one on climate change as well? Okay, now let's look at the AP News. What are they spinning to you today? Floridians evacuated for Hurricane Milton after wake-up call from devastating Helene. That's right, you citizen slaves, you obey. You better obey us. Better obey. Okay, next headline. Obama's call out to black men touches a nerve among Democrats. Is election year misogyny at play? Geez, they eat their own. You think she's this desperate? The machine behind her is powerful. But it damn sure is not we the people. I wonder how many illegals are getting mail-in ballots this year. That'll be a good statistic to monitor if anyone allows it. Kamala lost the male black vote. She'll probably really need that black female vote and that migrant, that illegal vote. Let's see what other stories we got. I mean, we all remember when all of a sudden in the middle of the night, every vote that came in and tens of thousands just happened to be for Biden. Remember that? We're going to see a repeat to that? I mean, you remember the documentary, The 2,000 Mules? I don't know. It just makes me wonder, how many mules will they have this time? I guess we just got to put a ring cameras on at every voter box and I guess just wait for brand new trucks with tassels, green and red LEDs, and Mexican flags hanging from the rear view to pull up blaring some Cafe Tacuba while shoving ballots in the boxes. Oh, boy. That's not even how you say it. I know I call it Cafe Tacuba. It's such a white thing to say. It's Cafe Tacuba. Probably. I don't know. But it's my podcast, and it's my transmission, so that's all I had in my imagination. I mean, it'll either be brazenness like that, or we'll just have to watch for the white vans again. But, same shtick. You see, those headlines keep you focused on very obvious things, and then they have people discussing their opinions about very obvious things. If they can keep you in their obvious spell, they can control your focus, your consciousness, your awareness. So what is the real story? Just like I do, and I recommend you do, if you want the real news, go to what the people are reporting. Find the whistleblowers and listen close. Sometimes they can tell you the obvious and reveal something much different. Reading between the headlines, reading the tea leaves, so to speak, is what I do best. Today I heard Jaguar Wright speaking on other players in the pervasive ongoing Diddy scandal. But she had some interesting things to say, and I made sure to save a clip. So let me cue this up here and give it a listen.
Kunis and Ashton Kutcher were before Ashton and his Diddy partying. You got Ashton Kutcher in love with Mila Kunis on that 70s show. Then they break up for absolutely no reason after he starts hanging out with Diddy. Then he marries Demi Moore, who drained him of all the adrenochrome she can. He went right back to Mila, though. He went right back to where he wanted to be.
You know, age appropriate.
Not even age appropriate. Was that your Illuminati assignment?
Damn.
What are your thoughts on Janet Jackson?
That's a hard one. I love Janet. And I also know that Janet came up in a time where she was trying to find her own independence and trying to find her own voice. And she wasn't going to let her daddy do to her what he did to her brother Michael. But the fact that the real reason behind her relationship with Jermaine Dupri is still so elusive. You know, why she left Jermaine Dupri to marry that billionaire and to have a baby and then get divorced and then be seen with Jermaine Dupri again. Kind of like Ashton Kutcher leaving Mila Kunis and then going off with Demi Moore and then coming back to Mila Kunis. You know, there's a lot of entrapment relationships. There's a lot of setup relationships. There's a lot of stuff.
Some people say she's just talking too much. Some say she's just doing this for the clout. But she was outing Diddy. And was she wrong? Has she been sued yet for defamation? No, she hasn't. I'm sure they will figure out some way, but no one has yet. And that is telling in itself. In that clip you just heard, she mentioned if that was his, Ashton Kutcher's, Illuminati assignment. And all I could think of, if these assignments always involve children, what are these assignments she's talking about? Let's look at Ashton. He marries up and has kids, then gets out. How about Kanye? He gets with a witch and has kids, and he's out. How about Janet Jackson? She gets with a billionaire, and what does she do? She has a child. Remember in a previous transmission, I explained to you monarch programming and how these families program and torture the children from an early age? I mean, it was like that with Arizona Wilder, Kathy O'Brien. And sometimes they keep it in the family, and sometimes they choose to adopt their prey. Are the children put into this Illuminati satanic program? And is that the sacrifice, as she put it, the assignment? I recommend to keep listening to what she has to say. Learn to read the tea leaves and to have ears that hear so that you can discern and pick up the truth for yourself. In the idea of that, keep thinking of that, I want to segue into something that's on my mind, and it's something I want you to be aware of. The Illuminati may believe and practice heinous things that you've heard about that you may not believe in or practice. But remember, those families, they rule over you. So it is always good to pay attention to what they are paying attention to. And in a time when they are cracking down on information and are coming after our freedoms by way of draconian rule, I would like you to be aware that a very significant event for them is occurring right now. I have another clip that explains this event. It does focus on astrology, and to most people that's out of the realm of of them taking anything seriously. It's what most people think of when they just joking around and reading a horoscope or looking for their next love. They may look for answers in astrology, but that's about as serious as they get. But remember this quote from J.P. Morgan. He once said, "Millionaires don't look at the stars, but billionaires do." And if you don't heed the words of a former billionaire himself, how about a quote from the good book? Luke 21:25 through 27. "And there will be signs in the sun, in the moon, and in the stars, and on the earth distress of nations, with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring, men's hearts failing them from fear." I mean, is this not what is occurring now? Keep that in mind. I have something I want to play to you. Just bear with me. Give it a listen.
There is a meteor shower coming called Draco. Now, if you look at this constellation, it is literally a dragon. Now, the crown of the dragon is the meteor shower. Some are saying that it is about a third of the stars. Now, understand, tonight we are exiting Rosh Hashanah, which symbolizes repentance. It is a very holy time in the Hebraic calendar. We will be entering Yom Kippur on October 10th, which is the most holy day of the year. Listen, the day before that, October 9th, in the constellation, we are going to see the book of Revelation being fulfilled, the 4 horsemen in the constellation. I highly recommend looking into this. We are also seeing the Star of Jacob. This is visible. There is one thing after the other in the star constellations that are lining up beautifully with biblical prophecy, with biblical scriptures, and it is all lining up consecutively with how prophecy has explained it, all perfectly in the perfect order. I'm releasing this video today because we are in the season of the dragon. The Lord is releasing his revelation. The Lord is releasing his truth in this hour. And I highly encourage there to be a fast assembled, there to be pressing in, there to be watches and intercession on every hour, on every shift as we continue through this month.
While we have the UN quickly assembling their forces to get funding and obedience from the nations of the world, and as they seem to be planning to do so by using crisis, you know what that sounds... Wait, does that sound like I'm making this up? Well, if you've been listening to my transmissions, what I was just saying sounded kind of like just opinion. It sounded kind of like just conjecture. I'm just throwing that out there, right? But it's coming to the point to where they're just telling you. They're just telling us straight to our faces. We just have to learn how to listen. They want to paint you beautiful pictures. But look at the bills that they've passed. Look at the fruits of their labor, so to speak. The fruit of their tree. Okay? And I want you to just listen to this guy he's doing this report on the UN, and he's kind of trying to spread the same message. It was a video that I picked up earlier today, but I found that it's really important information. And all right, one more time, just bear with me and give it a listen.
Let's jump over to an article by Tim Hinchliffe with a quote from Derek Rose. He wrote about how the UN was establishing emergency platforms that can swing into action automatically in times of crisis. And the so-called crises that they reference are so widespread that basically everything becomes a reason to circumvent national sovereignty.
As global shocks become more complex and disruptive, we need emergency platforms that swing into action automatically, convening major players according to agreed protocols. We cannot walk into the next global pandemic or shock without being better prepared. In short, we need greater global solidarity today and with future generations, better management of critical issues of global concern, and an upgraded United Nations that can meet the challenges of a new era.
Yeah, the UN has it framed in a way that any crisis can kickstart their emergency response, basically giving them carte blanche to enforce whatever they deem necessary, including superseding national governments and declaring that they must act in a certain way.
Did you hear how that evil, weird-sounding foreign accent guy from the UN... I'm being really informal right now. I don't want to say his name. I don't think he deserves it. I don't think any of them do. So that's just me. I don't have much humor, but there it is. It's just, they're jokes to me, and they're ruining the world. So not really a joke, but I can't take them seriously, but they have more power, and they wield more power than we could ever imagine. And so that's why I think this is so important. So as the Draco constellation or the meteor showers, the dragon rules in the sky. So do his followers rule here on earth. In Revelation 13:4 it states this, "And they worshipped the dragon which gave them power unto the beast. And they worshipped the beast, saying, Who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him?" Well, Nate Allen's answer, my answer, is that we can. I don't care who they worship. We are children of the Most High. If there are satanic forces at work, well, we just have to work harder. So know thy enemy. But the Bible says 365 times, do not be afraid. Folks, we are waking up to the deception and noticing things for what they truly are. And that is the real story. So thank you for joining me in this installment of the Transmission X Midnight News. What does it look like after we win? See that in your mind. Be in that reality there. And see that especially if you even think about being afraid. But always, 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 most importantly, be ready.